It was chaos inside the Thornton mansion. The air was thick with tension, monitors beeping frantically, voices shouting over one another. 7-year-old Ethan Thornton lay convulsing on his bed, his small frame jerking uncontrollably, lips turning blue. Around him stood 17 of the world's best doctors, neurologists, toxicologists, pediatric specialists, each one helpless. Dr. Elizabeth Morrison, a world-renowned neurologist, was on her 4th attempt that day to stop Ethan's seizures. Nothing worked. Not anti-seizure meds, not steroids, not emergency treatments. His vitals were plummeting again. "Do something," cried James Thornton, billionaire tech mogul and Ethan's father. "You're supposed to be the best." Dr. Morrison's hands trembled. "We've tried everything," she whispered. And then the door burst open. A teenage boy, no more than 17, stood there wearing a food delivery uniform, his name tag reading Malik. His eyes were wide, his voice unsteady but firm. "I can help him," Malik said. Security rushed toward him. "Sir, you need to leave." "Wait!" Malik pulled a handful of dried herbs from a small cloth bag. "My grandmother taught me about seizures like this. This isn't neurological. It's a toxin reaction. These herbs can flush it out." Dr. Morrison almost laughed. A teenage delivery boy claiming to cure what world-class doctors couldn't? Absurd. But as Ethan's convulsions worsened, James Thornton made a desperate decision. "Let him try," he said, voice cracking. "Please let him try." Malik stepped forward, crushing the herbs with practiced movements. He mixed them with water, gently lifted Ethan's head, and administered the solution. Then, placing his fingers on pressure points at Ethan's neck and wrists, he murmured, "Breathe. Little man, breathe." For half a minute, nothing happened. Then Ethan's body began to relax. His breathing steadied. Color returned to his cheeks. Within 2 minutes, the seizure stopped completely. The room fell silent. Every doctor frozen. Dr. Morrison stared in disbelief. "What did you just do?" Malik's voice shook. "My grandmother treated seizures like this in our town in Georgia. She said sometimes the body's not fighting its brain. It's fighting poison." James looked from his peaceful son to the trembling boy before him. "Who are you?" To understand that, they had to go back 3 months earlier. 3 months earlier. James Thornton was one of the richest men in America, a tech titan worth $15 billion. His son, Ethan, was his world. But wealth meant nothing the day Ethan collapsed during breakfast. His body went rigid, his eyes rolled back, and for 2 terrifying minutes, he seized uncontrollably. Every test came back normal. Brain scans, blood work, genetic studies. "His brain shows no signs of epilepsy," Dr. Morrison said, baffled. Yet the seizures continued, growing worse, more frequent, more violent. James spent over $5 million on treatments. Flew in experts from Tokyo, London, and Switzerland. But Ethan's condition only deteriorated. "Why is this happening to me, Dad?" Ethan asked one night, tears streaming down his face. James had no answer. The man who solved billion-dollar problems couldn't solve the one that mattered most. Malik's world. Across the city, in a small Bronx apartment, lived 17-year-old Malik Johnson with his grandmother, Mama Ada, and his little sister, Destiny. His mother had died years ago, and Malik worked 3 jobs to support the family. Food deliveries by day, stocking shelves at night, odd jobs on weekends. But his real education came from Mama Ada, a traditional healer from rural Georgia. She knew the earth's medicine, plants that calm pain, herbs that cleanse the body, pressure points that revive fainting patients. "Modern medicine is good, baby," she always told Malik. "But our ancestors kept people alive with what the earth gave us. That wisdom don't disappear just because hospitals got bigger." Malik learned every root, leaf, and blend by heart. "You've got a gift," Mama Ada would say. "Promise me you'll use it to help people." He promised. He never imagined that promise would take him to the doorstep of a billionaire's mansion. The day everything changed. It began like any other day, another delivery job for a high-end catering company. The address, the Thornton estate. When Malik arrived, rain tapped softly on the marble steps. But then he heard it, a child screaming in pain. Instinct took over. He looked up toward the sound and saw through an upstairs window a boy convulsing on a bed, surrounded by frantic doctors. Malik froze. He'd seen this before. A neighborhood kid poisoned by environmental toxins had suffered similar seizures. Mama Ada's herbs had saved him. The memory hit him hard. You have a gift, Malik. Promise me you'll use it to help people. He couldn't just walk away. Malik sprinted to the mansion's main entrance, heart pounding. Please, I need to see the boy upstairs. He's having seizures. I can help him. The guard blocked him. Move along, kid. Delivery's around back. Listen, my grandmother's a healer. I know what's happening. Leave now or I'm calling the cops. Malik clenched his fists. Fine, but when that boy dies because you wouldn't let me help, that's on you. Before the guard could respond, another one ran out. Turner, we need everyone upstairs. Kid's crashing. He might not make it. Turner hesitated. Looking at Malik, you really think you can help? I know I can. Turner made a split-second choice. Follow me, but if you're wrong, you're in trouble. Malik raced behind him, up the grand staircase, past portraits worth millions, into the bedroom where chaos ruled. And that's when he said the words that would change everything. I can help him. 17 minutes later, he proved it. After Ethan's breathing stabilized, Dr. Morrison immediately ordered new tests. The doctor surrounded Malik, firing questions. What was in those herbs? How did he know it would work? James intervened. Everyone back up. Give him space. Malik explained about his grandmother's teachings, how some seizures were the body's reaction to toxins, not neurological failure. Dr. Morrison frowned. But we tested his blood for every toxin. All negative. Did you test his environment? Malik asked. That one question stopped everyone cold. Dr. Morrison blinked. You mean his surroundings? Exactly, Malik said. Toxins build up over time. If they're in his food, air, or skin products, blood tests won't catch them right away. The body stores them. Her expression shifted from doubt to realization. He's right. We never checked for environmental exposure. James felt a spark of hope for the first time in months. What do we do? Test everything, Dr. Morrison said. The room, the bedding, the air, the cleaning supplies. As the team began collecting samples, Malik noticed something else. Mr. Thornton, when did the seizure start? 3 months ago at breakfast. Anything new in the house then? Furniture, cleaning products, food? James's face went pale. My wife ordered a new Italian skincare line. Organic. We started using it that same week. Show me, Malik said. They hurried into Ethan's bathroom. On the marble counter stood elegant glass bottles labeled organic lavender and chamomile. Malik opened one and smelled it, then dabbed a drop on his tongue. His face hardened. This isn't what it says it is. There's something bitter, metallic. My grandmother warned me. Plants grown in polluted soil can absorb heavy metals. Dr. Morrison's eyes widened. Mercury, arsenic, it would explain everything. James shook his head in disbelief. Those products were certified. They cost thousands. Malik nodded. Luxury companies sometimes buy ingredients from unregulated farms. The contamination's natural. It doesn't show up as deliberate poisoning. Dr. Morrison grabbed her phone. We're sending these to a lab immediately. And test everything new from that supplier, Malik added. If one product's poisoned, others will be too. They didn't know it yet, but the truth waiting in that lab report would shake the entire world. The lab results came back 2 days later, and when Dr. Morrison opened the report, her hands trembled. Mercury levels 20 times above normal, she said softly. The skincare line, every product is contaminated. James Thornton sank into a chair, his face pale. So my son's been poisoned by something we put on his skin? Malik nodded grimly. Absorbed through the pores. Over time, it attacks the nervous system, causing seizures, loss of motor control, even coma. Dr. Morrison exhaled, shaking her head. I can't believe we missed this. We were treating the brain, not the cause. Malik stood quietly in the corner. My grandmother used to say, the earth always tells you what's wrong if you listen. For the first time in months, Ethan smiled when he saw Malik. You helped me, didn't you? He said, his voice weak but warm. Malik smiled back. You were the brave one, little man. The investigation. Within a week, Thornton Industries' legal team launched a full-scale investigation. The organic skincare brand Naturabelle was marketed as toxin-free, used by elite families worldwide. But internal testing revealed horrifying truths. Contaminated lavender oil, mercury-laced chamomile extract, and formaldehyde traces in lotions. James Thornton was livid. He'd been one of the company's largest investors. They sold poison disguised as purity, he said, slamming his fist on the table. And my son nearly died for it. Malik's discovery didn't just save Ethan. It exposed a billion-dollar scandal. Global headlines soon read, Teen delivery boy exposes toxic skincare empire, saved billionaire son. When reporters tried to contact Malik, he refused interviews. I didn't do it for fame, he told Dr. Morrison. I did it because a boy needed help. Still, word spread fast. Medical institutions wanted to meet him. Scientists wanted to understand how he recognized symptoms thousands of doctors missed. Dr. Morrison herself invited Malik to her clinic. You have a gift, she said. You saw connections that took us years of training to even consider. Malik shook his head. It's not a gift. It's what my grandmother taught me. To see the person, not just the illness. A father's gratitude. 2 weeks later, Ethan was sitting up in bed, laughing, coloring with crayons. His energy returned, his seizures gone. James Thornton couldn't stop watching him, tears in his eyes. He turned to Malik. You saved my son when everyone else failed. How do I ever repay you? Malik hesitated. Sir, you don't owe me anything. I just kept a promise to help people. James smiled faintly. What do you want most in life? Malik looked down. To study medicine. I always dreamed of becoming a doctor, but college isn't something I can afford. James reached into his jacket, pulling out an envelope. Inside was a scholarship document. Full tuition, housing, and living expenses for medical school paid in full by the Thornton Foundation. This isn't charity, James said. It's an investment. The world needs healers like you. Malik's voice cracked. Thank you, sir. I'll make you proud. Mama Ada's pride. When Malik returned home, he found his grandmother on the porch, knitting in her old rocking chair. I saw you on the news, she said with a knowing smile. Saving rich folks now, huh? Malik laughed. It wasn't like that, Grandma. He was just a kid, same as any other. She reached over, placing a wrinkled hand over his. You listened when the world didn't. You honored our ways and made them live again. I'm proud of you, baby. Tears filled his eyes. I just wish you could have seen it. Grandma, the look on his face when he woke up. Oh, I seen it, she said, smiling. Right here. She tapped her heart. Don't ever forget where your gift came from. A new beginning. Months later, Malik stood before a massive auditorium filled with students, doctors, and journalists. He'd been invited to speak at a medical innovation summit, bridging traditional healing and modern science. Standing on stage, wearing a simple suit borrowed from his uncle, he spoke from the heart. Medicine isn't just about machines and degrees. It's about listening to patients, to their stories, and sometimes to the earth itself. My grandmother used to say, the body tells the truth in whispers before it screams. Ethan Thornton's illness wasn't a mystery. It was a message we almost ignored. Sometimes healing isn't about what we invent. It's about what we remember. The crowd rose to their feet in applause. Among them sat James Thornton and Dr. Morrison, both smiling proudly. Ethan, now fully recovered, clapped the loudest, waving from the front row. That's my friend Malik, he shouted. A year later, Malik began studying medicine at one of the country's top universities, funded entirely by the Thornton Foundation. But he didn't stop there. On weekends, he volunteered at free community clinics, blending traditional herbal methods with modern science. His approach attracted attention worldwide. Soon, universities began researching Mama Ada's herbal techniques. Malik's name appeared in journals, documentaries, and scientific panels. Still, he remained humble. "I'm just carrying on my grandmother's work," he'd always say. She was the real healer. The Natura Bell executives were charged with criminal negligence and fraud after hundreds of contaminated products were found across Europe and the U.S. The scandal cost the beauty industry billions, but also sparked change. New regulations were passed. Manufacturing transparency became law, and every product now had to disclose the exact origin of its natural ingredients. All because one boy refused to stay silent. 10 years later, a crowd gathered in the lobby of St. Helena's Medical Center as the hospital unveiled its newest department, the Malik Johnson Center for Integrative Healing. Now a licensed physician and researcher, Dr. Malik Johnson stood beside his wife and daughter, overwhelmed with emotion. On the wall behind him hung a plaque engraved with his grandmother's favorite words, "The earth heals those who listen." Dr. Morrison, now retired, cut the ribbon beside him. James Thornton, gray hair but smiling, stood with his son, Ethan, now a healthy teenager. "You kept your promise," James said softly. Malik smiled. "And you kept yours." Ethan stepped forward, handing Malik a photo, one of the two of them years ago, the day he recovered. "You're the reason I want to be a doctor," he said. Malik knelt, smiling proudly. "Then promise me one thing." "What's that?" Ethan asked. "When you save your first patient, don't forget to listen." The world called him the teen who outsmarted 17 doctors. But Malik never saw himself that way. "I didn't outsmart anyone," he said in an interview years later. "I just paid attention." His story became a symbol, proof that wisdom isn't measured in degrees or wealth, but in compassion. And somewhere in a quiet southern town, a weathered grave bore fresh flowers every week. On the stone were carved words Malik had chosen himself. Mama Ada Johnson, the Earth's whisperer, she taught the world to listen again. Sometimes the greatest miracles don't come from power, privilege, or science alone. They come from those humble enough to see what others overlook and brave enough to act when no one else will.